everyone, to Couple Sutra. We have some guests today, Dexter and Summer. You guys want to say hi?
Hey, I'm Dexter.
I'm Summer.
They're joining us this week on our episode. We'll get to know them a little bit better, and they are actually celebrating their 1-year anniversary today, so congratulations.
Happy anniversary, love.
So first we're going to start off with the sex position of the week. I know we talked with you guys about it, just what it was. It was corkscrew. It sounds complicated, but it was a very easy sex position. We went out into our sunroom, and I laid on our bench/table. All you have to do is lay on your side, and your
magic happened.
Yeah, the significant other comes up behind you. They can be standing, or they even showed one leg on the table. We've done this in the past, and it's been successful. However, last week, it was not successful. It hurt. He was hitting my walls.
It was not a good angle.
So we just broken the table a different way.
You broke the table.
No,
So
broke it
spooning, kind of.
It's,
But
with
standing,
but you're,
yeah.
but the
a
guy's standing.
spooning.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's-
I dig that, yeah.
it's
Have we
It's an
mentioned
angle.
the height discrepancy between us?
oh yeah.
Right, yeah.
Dexter and Summer have a huge height difference, so
She's like 7 feet tall.
Oh, right over him.
Just absolutely
our table might not work.
gigantic. I'm a midget.
He is Danny DeVito.
Right?
All right. So the next thing we talk about is just how our week went. So our week's been rough. Sunday right now, and our cat went missing on Friday afternoon. So it was hard for us to want to start recording today, and we're very thankful for you guys to come out and make us feel better.
Yeah.
And
He typically is gone for maybe 4 hours, 6 at a time. So being gone for 2 days is...
so we're learning we're a very good support system for each other during this time, because we don't have children, and our fur babies are the closest things we'll ever have to children. So it's hard on us. Keep you updated next week if anything happens, but that's pretty much the only thing we can think about how this week went. I ate a quart of ice cream yesterday. Didn't know I had it in me.
Mm-hmm.
Very proud of it right now, but not going to be proud of it next time I'm in a swimming suit.
Nice.
How did your guys' week go?
Pretty good. I think that we were both very much in love with each other with this weekend coming up, that we knew that we were going to have some plans. We were going to head off to the beach up north and just kind of spend the whole weekend together. So this is our first anniversary, and I think that it's just really hitting us, the idea that we've been married for a year. It seems like no time at all, and just kind of been enjoying the week.
Agreed. It's been a really special year. We enjoyed being quarantined together. We really like all the different trips that we've taken. And even though this past weekend was so special, even before that, we're often reflecting on how far we've come and how much we still feel in love with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's pretty natural to reflect on, not just the adventures we've been on, but what's left to come. And getting started planning out some of those has been really fun.
Mm-hmm.
I love watching you guys talk to each other. You're so sweet.
Yeah.
Why don't you look at me like that? I'm just kidding.
Okay, so you guys have been married for a year today. How long have you been together total?
3 years.
Yeah.
Years?
Since
A little over.
2018 is when we first started dating.
We knew each other before then from work, but it was more just a platonic friendship, and then it blossomed into more.
I grew on him like fungus.
Yeah.
He often jokes that for Dexter, his love grew really slowly, and mine was the day after. The day after our first date.
Yeah,
If somebody
you
had
didn't know
dressed
me
me
well
up,
enough.
brought me to an altar, I would have said absolutely. I knew enough.
That's cute.
Well, I'm glad that you were convinced right away. And I hope it's not insulting, the idea that it took a while. I don't like to move quickly, and make emotional decisions. I like to make them rationally. And so, in time, we grew together. But yes, I know that you were ready to get married after the first date.
I was just waiting for you to be ready too. You're
Okay.
worth the wait.
Thanks, love.
So we wanted to also ask you guys questions, especially
Shoot.
Summer.
And Summer is a psychologist.
I am.
Yep.
All right, so her advice means more. Way more than ours does.
Not
so,
more than Dexter, just
Oh
more
yeah,
than
no,
ours.
trust
More-
me, I'm a
just-
doctor. I made this up on the fly.
Yeah.
So her advice is at least worth a little bit more than
Than what
Jeff
I
and
have to
I's.
say. So, a big question, and I want to know about for both of you. How do you guys handle if you guys have an argument or disagreement?
Go ahead, Summer.
I think we're really good about talking it out together.
Sure.
I think both of us can be very emotional, as in feeling things deeply and being empathetic, but I also think that we're both very, very rational. So sometimes, even though we can bounce back and forth between those, I think we're usually a pretty nice blend of both, and we're really good at perspective taking on, I may not agree with you, but I can see where you're coming from.
Agreed. However, we do have certain times where we conflict with each other and we have different approaches of how to handle it. Summer wants to talk it out right away, and typically I want to walk away and kind of gather
We're
myself.
the opposite.
Yeah.
So I will retreat in a way, and then she wants to just have this argument right away and to work it all out. And I'm just different in my nature. Just need quiet time to think. So
Yeah.
normally I go into chores mode and do a bunch of cleaning. So
Oh,
then if
wish
she's
I
still
was like
pissed
that.
off at me, it'll be like, yeah, well, I did all the chores, so you can't be too pissed.
That does help, not gonna lie. The only downside is that while you're off taking time to cool down, I'm just formulating all the logical arguments about why I'm right.
And I'm glad you're
It gives
formulating
me
all
more
these logical
time.
arguments. That's a good thing. That way, when we do have an argument, it's a very logical thing. It's not just some emotion-based free-for-all.
I feel like that's why I need time, is because I can think of all the arguments in my head, and then he'll ask why. I'm like, well, half the arguments I had in my head were ridiculous, so that's why I don't want to talk about it right away, because I sound like a child. So I'm like, I just need the time to calm down and actually talk with what's the issue.
And I'm still learning to give her that time, because if I try to jump into it right away and she doesn't want to, I can become frustrated, and then I will distance myself from it, and then it turns into a stubbornness of who wants to talk first or who's going to give in first of
Who
talking
can be
to
the
the other
most
one.
stubborn that day?
Yeah, so it's not fun. I'm learning. Give her that time, then we will talk about it, and then we good.
I wish I cleaned, but
Yeah.
it's definitely not what I'm doing when I'm upset.
It's cathartic. But I don't think there's ever been a time where we've gone to sleep angry at each other. It's going to happen that day that we talk it out, and then we're okay to move on.
Often, I know a lot of people say don't go to bed angry, but sometimes I think that's okay because you're not going to solve every issue right away.
Have you gone to bed angry?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, no. Oh, goodness.
Now we're getting into
Yeah, I
something.
know. We're finding out stuff.
Revelations, yes. Oh, absolutely. And sometimes it just took me a couple of days either to get my argument formulated, or more than often, you came to your senses, and it was all good. I feel like our compromise, when I've ever been very angry, which is unusual, but our compromise has been, you go take all the time you need, but all the while, just know that I am simmering. And the angrier I'm going to get over time, because I'm just over here feeling it myself. So it's up to you when you're ready to talk, but if you know what's good for you, it better be sooner.
Right.
And you give me that look, a little wide-eyed look like, wow, okay. I'm going to go tread carefully in the next room over here.
Right.
Sometimes when I sleep on it, I realize the next day, sometimes when I'm mad at him, it's very foolish, and I got upset over the smallest thing, and I just need to cool off about it. There's no reason to argue about it. He disagrees. We should talk about it right away, but sometimes I'll wake up and then I'm fine, and I tell him what it was. I'm like, it was really stupid. That's why I didn't want to bring it up. I just had to sleep on it and let it go. Even though talking about it the night before, I probably would have gotten better sleep, but
Yeah, we found each other awake at like 3 a.m, 4 a.m. one time, laying there next to each other, and then we're like, let's have our conversation now, as we had time
now's
to...
a better time than ever since
Yeah.
we're both awake.
I think
That's
you're using
cute.
conversation as a euphemism.
What
know,
else
it's
you do
just
at
been-
3 a.m?
Not
Mostly
talk
sleep.
rationally, that's for sure.
All right, our next question for you is, do you have any advice for our listeners who are in relationships when they're in a relationship and it's not what they want it to be, they're just having troubles, and
How to work through these.
How to work through
easier.
their
Like
troubles
maybe they
easier.
have issues, they're not seeing eye to eye often.
I think the most important thing is to pause. I say that because I've seen too many couples try and change their status of maybe being more aggressive or argumentative or whatever by just taking a more serious step. Like, it'll go away if we get engaged or get married or have,
have
a
a
child
kid.
together.
That'll help.
That'll do it. And actually, that just makes the situation so much worse. I think you've got to be in a place where your relationship can withstand a lot before you take it to the next step.
And just know that sometimes it's healthy to have these arguments. It's better to have them when you're in a dating relationship rather than just kind of pushing forward, like Summer is saying, and just getting married and then having the argument at that time. It can bring people closer together to have a constructive argument with each other. I know that I don't always see eye to eye with Summer, but she's very passionate on her beliefs, and even though we disagree on some things, it just causes me to respect her so much more to know that she's adamant about her beliefs and that she stands her ground. She doesn't change her mind just because it's convenient to get along with me. She's a true believer in her own thoughts, and I like that.
I like that you said respect too, because that's something too when people are having disagreements, arguments, and stuff. Is remembering to stay respectful. Some people turn arguments into fights far too often, and they say things that they feel hurt, so they're trying to make the other person feel hurt.
Right.
Then you're causing more issues. So I like what you said there with respecting her.
Yeah, if your view is to hurt the other person in the relationship, your relationship's already over. And before jumping into another relationship, you got to do a little self-evaluation, because that's the definition of dysfunctional.
Yeah.
Right. I think you can fight or argue and still be very much in love and able to show it.
Right.
There have been times where we're, not necessarily in an argument, but definitely caught up in a disagreement, and you'll come up to me and kiss me, or I'll come into the kitchen and do something silly.
Right.
Because even though right now we're not on the same wavelength, I still love you.
Right.
Yeah, you want to lighten the mood a little bit too, just to let them know you're still there, you still love them, you're just having a hard time at that moment.
I think I'll preface things with, I love you like crazy, but you're driving me nuts right now.
Lovingly, yes.
Yeah.
So you guys are in year 3 now. You've been together for 3 years. So you'd be going on year 4, something like that. You've been married for a year. I know.
Check him out doing
Right.
He's
Oh,
really good.
Nice.
Yeah, that's why you're a teacher.
Okay,
Our next question for you guys.
Yeah. So how do you
Segue.
guys keep the romance alive between the two of you?
Well, every single day we say I love you probably 100 times to each other. Every single day we'll snuggle together, or nuggle as we like to call it.
Nuggle.
Every single day we're just on the same wavelength. We do everything together. We work at the same place together. We'll cook together.
Carpool together.
Carpool together. We're very omnipresent in each other's lives, and we like that. And it kind of makes us worried that someday, maybe one of us would move on to a different job, and then we wouldn't have that constantly. And I don't think it would wreck the relationship, but it makes me sad to think of the time when we can't do that, because I enjoy your company so much.
Even when we were home together last year.
Oh,
Wonderful
best
all
thing
the
ever.
time.
Quarantine.
Loved it.
Yeah.
We have so many inside jokes that's just the two of us. Like, we're partners and we're best friends. We'll sing, we'll say these silly little things, have nicknames for each other. And yeah, having all the same friends and occupation and interests. We have all these silly jokes that only we get.
Right. Summer can be very, very silly, and I love that. I love that she's got such a great personality. As for my personality, I've got multiple ones. I've got my one where I'm working as a teacher. It's a lot more serious. It's a lot more humorless, I guess I would say. And then when I get home, the real me comes out, the real Dexter. And that's what Summer gets to see every day, is the real me. Where teacher version Dexter can't have these emotions because, it'd make him weak.
Lucky for me, I adore all the versions of you, and that's what keeps our day-to-day lives so interesting, between the stuff we're doing during the day, the fun stuff we're doing together, and always the new adventure, whether it's just something in our backyard or a bigger trip or something to keep us interested in each other.
True that. You're the same always. I mean, whether you're at work or at home,
for real, yes.
You're just silly and goofy and weird, and I love it.
100%.
Yeah.
And you mentioned quarantine. I feel like having something like a pandemic come around every, let's say, 5 years
Right.
helps, because you can have...
It really tests it tested everyone's relationship.
Sure.
You guys are like us. We are happy every second together, and people are like, that'll fade away. And I mean, you guys are in year 4, so you got a
We're
year,
waiting for that.
just
Not
over
yet.
a year up on us on that,
It's
and
a-
we're still the same way. We don't get sick of each other's company. Like, we don't spend a lot of time apart. We will if people want to hang out with us separately. We would, but
Sure.
it doesn't happen, and we're totally happy with each other's company.
Yeah.
That's why it's nice to have couple friends.
Right.
All right, so now the questions that we have three more.
Now to get into the sex part of this
All right.
podcast.
Shoot.
So first off, let's get personal. What turns both of you on
And
from
you
each
can't
other?
just say in summer. You can't say
Her his
Dexter.
eyes.
Dexter. You
Yeah.
okay, yeah, you can say that.
I mean,
Well, I think we're very open with each other, and so Dexter knows this about me. But
Oh, we're
I have
learning
bit
a
of
lot, too,
cum
today.
Fetish,
Mm-hmm.
a what fetish?
cum fetish,
Oh,
and Dexter supports this and
Of
kind
course.
of shares it with me.
Can you please
Sharon,
elaborate?
yeah.
To me, sex is like an ice cream drumstick treat, right? You start at the top, everything's delicious, you keep going down, and there's that top at the very bottom, that
Oh, that-
perfect tip of the waffle cone filled with chocolate with ice cream on top.
Are you
It is-
hungry?
We
I
better
am
go
high.
to get ice cream.
Yeah,
after this.
right.
Arguably, that is the best bite of the ice cream treat, and to me, that's sex. I enjoyed the whole process.
But you're excited about that ending.
That
Yes,
ending.
not just mine, because I'm very prone to multiple orgasms throughout a sexual experience with Dexter. So for me, it's like the fudge. I just keep getting layer and layer and layer and layer.
Look
Now
at
everybody's
fudge.
hungry. You, when you come, it's the tip of the waffle cone for me. It's the best
That was
final
the
bite.
Best description I've ever heard of for someone
Well,
coming.
thanks, love.
Dexter, do you want to give your side of things? So what turns you on from Summer? What gets you going and in the mood?
When she starts acting silly and goofy,
Should we get out
You're
of the
hard
room right
right
now?
now?
yeah, her personality does that. And we like to talk a whole lot during our intimate times during sex. One time,
Like about SpongeBob.
yeah, sure. Yeah, one time we were debating about whether SpongeBob was doing it with Sandy Cheeks, and
right.
Summer was coming up with all these stupid sort of things, and I was actually like getting pissed off at her while we're in the middle of having like really good sex.
So that
And
it
I'm
gets
trying
like
to
an angry
explain
sex.
about
No!
what's happening in SpongeBob's world. And anyway, she's just being silly as possible, and I like that a lot.
Thank goodness we brought up SpongeBob. Otherwise, I was going to be giving the pervy answer, and you were going to give the really romantic answer. We just said we're almost always on the same wavelength.
Right.
And here, you know, you're singing the Titanic theme song, and I'm over here, bow, chicka, bow, wow, went straight to cum fetish.
Right. Yeah.
I liked.
yeah.
like
This
it.
might be a dumb question after hearing what you just said, but do you guys laugh during sex ever?
Yes. Of course.
Constantly.
Yep.
I'm always saying funny things. I won't repeat the actual name, but like, hi, I'm Jeffrey Dahmer. Or pretending to be
God.
some other man in bed. Or,
Yeah, that's
Whoa.
a real turn on when you
Wow.
start using like the deep voice. I mean,
we started paraphrasing the Parasite and saying, "Oh yeah, buy me drugs," just right in the middle, and you're like, "Get out of here!"
if anyone's not understanding the reference, movie Parasite, yeah, just watch it. You'll get it.
It's called Parasite.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna
Korean
we're
movie.
gonna have to put that on our list.
Yeah,
we
totally.
will laugh in the middle. It's usually like, do you ever create body farts when you're
Oh,
going at
When
it?
your
Goodness.
bodies pressed together?
I try and hold mine in as much.
No, no,
Oh,
no,
we're
not,
talking,
not an
we're
actual
talking
fart.
bodies pressing together,
Sure.
creating fart noises.
I'm sure that there's been some of those, but not as many as I like.
We haven't done them as often, which
Yeah,
is nice.
we've had some,
Really?
Right.
Or
and we try to replicate them.
or I'll ask him. I'm like, do you like that? And I don't mean it sexually. You know how
But
people
she's
are like,
asking it just,
oh yeah,
do
you like
it?
that? That's not how I'm asking. I'm like, do you like that? And then we just start cracking up because in a porn, it's pretty much, oh yeah, you like that? You like that, Daddy?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Do not say that.
If
but
she says
sometimes
daddy,
if I,
that's a turn
Not
off.
daddy.
Sometimes-
That's
Yeah,
a huge
that's-
turn off.
sometimes I'll be like reverse cowgirl, look over at him. Do you like that? And I won't be asking it sexually, and then I can just add daddy because it's hilarious. And then we just have
And
to
then we
have to take a
stop.
1 minute intermission, laugh, and then we can get on with our
Right.
our sex.
Yeah, the word daddy in our bedroom is only said ironically.
Yeah, we don't.
Isn't it more often mommy?
Ah.
In the bedroom. I mean, let's be honest.
It's more, who's mama's little boy?
Yeah, she does it just to ruin the mood,
I can
just to
ruin
be
the mood
weird.
Just with that one phrase.
Just so you know, we do that to Jeff at work as well.
That's awesome.
Where's Mama's little boy?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Next on the list, what is your favorite sex position? You don't have to have like the actual name brand of it. If
Name brand?
I don't know. I don't know what you call it.
I only
The
do
trademark-
Nike sex.
the trademarked name of the sex position.
Well, my favorite one is to make full use of the length of Dexter's penis. Get me flat on my stomach.
I knew you were gonna say this one. Mine too.
Dexter from behind, right, on my shoulder. So it's still got that intimacy of
What's on your shoulders?
missionary.
Like he is his face, I'm assuming.
So
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen it.
picture doggy style. However, we're both kind of like laying down.
I've heard
I
that called
guess.
prone bone before.
Sure, let's go with
Is
that.
that trademarked?
Yeah.
If
don't
not,
know.
we call it.
All right. good.
Oh, okay. I've just
I
been
owe you
calling it
royalty
the Sleepy
fees.
Gary.
Sites
Sleepy
I
Gary.
sites I've
So-
seen before.
That's my favorite position when we wake up, and I like it when I'm awake too. But
We don't do it while she's asleep.
Ah.
She's
Let's-
very much awake.
sorry, let's go back. If we wake up, I don't want to put any work in, but I'll still want it. So I'll go on my stomach and be like, I'm ready. And so it's pretty much that position, which I really like. I'm just too tired to do anything, so I just lay there. And he's pretty happy with it. I mean,
Yeah.
All right. And then our last question for you before we get to some funny sex stories is, what is your wildest sex fantasy?
Oh boy, do we share this one.
Yo.
So going back to my cum fetish, my biggest fantasy is having Dexter in the lead, but also about 6 to 7 backup dancers, if you will.
Oh my god.
All dudes with varying lengths of penises, because I am all about not only my cum fetish, but double penetration.
And it's a fantasy that we both share, I guess. Yeah.
Maybe
no,
we can
I
get the
guess-
Chippendales in on this for you.
Right, totally.
I think they
So
need
it's
to
not
Leave
only-
Chris Farley at home.
So it's not only the laughing, there's a lot of dialogue too. There's a joke at work
There's
that
a
I
dirtiness. Yes.
very much. I rarely shut up. Well, apparently during sex I do that too. I'll just narrate this short story or novella depending on the mood, and
Dear
just,
diary.
and I'm not going to stop until he comes. So.
Right. But yeah, that's probably our most intense fantasy that we have.
Well, you'll have to let us know when it happens.
Right.
I'm really intrigued. On to some sex stories, guys. Jeff and I will go first because I'm sure we know you too. We know it can get wild, so we'll share ours. Might be a little more. Is timid the word? Not
Tame.
timid.
Mild? Tame?
And they might be a little
Yeah.
more tame than yours. So I'm going to go first. We did get a write-in, so thank you, listener. This is from William. And William said, funny story. My girlfriend and I have been dating for 5 years now, and the story pertains to when we first started dating, about 4 months in. One day, she wanted to know what one of my desires for sexy time was. Of course, me being a 20-year-old simple guy, I said schoolgirl roleplay. I feel like, have we all been there? We all want to dress. Summer, have you ever
I've
wanted to be in
never-
a schoolgirl outfit?
I
I've-
too have wanted to be a small schoolboy at one point.
Boy.
Ah. Yeah, I've never had the little schoolgirl
Me either.
kind of.
I don't want
yeah.
to act like it, but I'd love to have the outfit.
Sure.
I do like the skirt.
Yeah.
If you want to wear a skirt.
I have like knee highs I'll put on for him.
Hey,
Yeah,
very-
stripper heels.
That's
Good
all
enough
he
for
needs, though. He
Britney
doesn't need
Spears.
the
That's good
skirt or
enough.
shirt.
I do like
Right.
the knee-high socks.
Yeah. So, all right. So that was his desired sexy time. So over the weekend, she comes over and asks to use the restroom. After about 5 minutes, she comes out in a schoolgirl skirt with her top ends tied together to act like a bra and for easy access to them boobies. So things are getting hot and sexy, and I end up on top missionary. My girlfriend enjoys when I fully exit her and then re-enter her. Don't know why, but she does. So after about 2 minutes of this, I'm about to arrive. I exit, and I jam back in for the finish. She starts screaming and tells me to get off. Turns out I accidentally jammed it in her ass upon re-entry.
It happens to the best
Been
of us.
there.
He's like, she was fine. After a couple minutes, we finished, and that was the first time we ever role-played. I'm like, oh my gosh. We have to ease into anal. So to accidentally, and lots of lube. So there
Oh,
must
yeah.
have been a lot of
Juices.
fluids, juices down there for that to happen. I'm like, oh, but yeah, do you guys partake in anal?
Sometimes,
Yes.
but
Sometimes.
not extremely
I
often.
was gonna say ours isn't
Special treat.
We'd say,
Right, exactly.
every other month, maybe.
yeah.
But so it's not something we're accustomed to, and so I need a lot of. I would probably scream if that happened as well. All right.
And as long as you can laugh off that situation,
Uh-huh.
as long as she's not gonna have any like hang-ups in the future.
Oh, yeah, 5
But
years now, and they're still going strong, so that's good.
Good.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Well, thank you again, William, for writing in.
Yeah, thank you, William. My story is actually about us. So Shelly and I were having sex. She's on top, and all of a sudden, she hears me start laughing. Like I just bursted out
It's
laughing.
the last thing you want to hear when you feel sexy on top.
And-
Last thing, I was very upset.
yeah, so she's feeling self-conscious, and we stopped. And the reason why is one of the cats was about a foot away from her, just with this very like pissed off face because the whole bed
she was
is
sleeping.
shaking, and her face is just she's rattling back and forth, and
Just
she looks
jiggling.
really irritated.
She's just jiggling on the bed watching us do it. I didn't even know she was there, hence
So,
my
yeah.
upsetness.
So I learned from that: don't burst into laughter when your woman's on top, because she's gonna think you're laughing at her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember being
Unless
very
she's a
upset.
clown. If she's
Are
a
you fucking clowns now?
if there's a clown on top of you
There's
and
a
you're
fetish
laughing,
for everything.
they
There is a fetish for
may-
everything.
they may be turned on by that or feel like you're complimenting them because they're a clown.
This cat loves the conversation so much she's on the table by us. She's like, "Yeah, good times, mom and dad."
We've had similar mistakes where you got to make sure that you put the animals in the other room,
Yeah.
or else they just come wandering in. Oh, what's going on in here?
What are you doing?
Yeah.
They'll
Yeah.
just jump right in
Jeff
bed.
gets his feet licked every once in a while, and
Yeah.
I'm like, "All
It
right,
helps me last longer because I'm distracted.
please stop when
It's
that
better
happens."
than doing the opposite. Like,
Oh my God. Be like,
ooh,
"Yeah, I
it's
really
doggy."
like that.
Yes,
Keep."
they can.
Ah.
So it brings a whole new meaning to doggy style.
Yes.
Now you two are up. What kind of stories do you want to share with us
Sure.
today?
So, since we mentioned already about our fetish and everything, the way that this particular double penetration fetish was found out is one day Summer and I were planning on going to Duluth, was it? And so we were going to be looking up on Google places to go in Duluth. But when you type in the letter D
on a Dexter device.
on a Dexter device,
It
and then
autofills.
autofills to certain other search things that have been gone
DP Asian
into
porn.
before. Yeah, sorry. We got a thing for Asian chicks, and they got a thing for them taken too. So Summer is all like, "What the hell is?" But it was a funny. I think she was kind of aroused by that sort of
Well,
thing.
I think I was always a little bit more open about my sexuality. We hadn't been dating that long when this
Right.
happened, and you're more of the just starting to let your guard down and ease out of this, just teacher coworker role. So when we went straight to, "Hey, I like Elton John music," to, "Okay, DP Asian porn," that was quite a jump for us.
Yeah, I'm a bit more reserved and everything. I don't open up about sexual things quite as much as Summer does. For her, you just say, "Hey, how's it going?" She'll start telling you all about sex life and things like that.
Whether you wanted to hear it or not.
Right, exactly.
that's a good way to find out. I'll just look at your search history.
Just type in one letter erase, just until something populates that.
And
is
that's actually a
common.
really fun game to play that I'd recommend for all couples. So take out your phones, go to Google, go to the search bar. Both of you type in the letter A. What pops up?
Ooh.
It's going to be Amazon because everyone's searching for Amazon, of course. But
Could
then
be
go,
anal. You
It
never
could
know.
be anal.
Someone might like anal
You
more than Amazon.
Might be searching for anal more than Amazon, and that will tell you something about your partner.
It
Just
might
go
be.
through all the letters of the alphabet and see what pops up.
That's funny.
You're either going to learn some things or you're not. But if you do, better learn these things early than later.
Right.
DP Asian porn, I can work with that.
Summer's like,
Balls.
"Hell yeah, this is my man."
Yeah, she's like,
Right.
"I didn't know that you're into 60-year-old clowns." All
Do
right,
you guys
Summer.
have another story for us?
So, some of the details have been changed in the story to protect the innocent and the mortified. But I have a friend, we're going to call her Bertha,
Oh my gosh.
It's a
for
fitting
very
name.
important reasons. So, gotta give you some context for this funny sex story, but Bertha and I were in grad school together. Not necessarily the same school, but we're in it together, so, we're poor, we're stressed, and we're doing it together. So, Bertha, we're living off of potato chips, not getting a lot of exercise. She's a bigger gal and also has anxiety. So when she needs to let off some steam, she's going on Tinder or whatever the quickest way is to meet a guy, maybe go on a date, get what she needs, and go. So she's not really in the dating lifestyle. So imagine her surprise when she turns up pregnant.
Ooh.
By the time she found out she was pregnant, she also knew basically the gender of the baby. So she was pretty far along. So I think maybe she was compensating for this perceived lack of control by being really controlled when she had her baby. Again, this is important for the story. So she decides to be extra hipster, extra crunchy, and just pop that sucker right out of her kitty meow meow into the bathtub at home.
Kitty meow meow.
So she does this. And good for her, that's
Yeah.
what a brave gal. On the other hand, I'm going to slip an oxy for a burn on my hand for a french fry, so I'm not fully getting this. Well, it didn't go super well. I mean, the baby got out, so that's good. But my girl here, most women, if they tear, it's down the perineum. She tore up front,
Oh.
all the way through her urethra. I think there's a Cards Against Humanity card that says catastrophic urethral trauma, and that makes me think of our dear girl Bertha. So, not a good situation. So she heals as good as you're ever going to get. Several years later, she's, single mama now, really needs a lot of some stress, so she's again starting to go out on dates. And she had a tendency to go for, bigger guys. And so she's going on a date, and she ends up being kind of wined and dined by this guy. He's being really romantic, actually. So takes her to a nice restaurant. They come back to his place. She gets on top. She's working it the best she can. And all that catastrophic urethral trauma came back to haunt her because she just kind of released her bladder while riding this guy. And I don't think he realized right away. Maybe he just thought he was doing so great.
Yeah,
Maybe
she
he
was
thought she
squirting a
squirter.
lot.
But I
Ugh.
think because she stopped in a panic and he opened his eyes and he sees her face, utterly mortified, and then they smell it
Oh, jeez.
because this nice restaurant had been steak and a whole bunch of asparagus. So,
Oh, God. It's
so
very
when she let
potent.
loose, you could smell it. So now he's flipping out. He's pushing her off. My girl is just so mortified. She's throwing her clothes on as quick as she can. She's trying to say rational things like, I'll pay for your sheets. But he was really
That's where my mind would go.
Can't
not
make this shit up.
concerned about it at all. So she leaves. She's mortified. And long story short, she ends up having to go to a physical therapist to strengthen her pelvic floor muscles and all these other
Yep.
issues. And it involved getting a custom-made dildo that she had to insert into her anus and clench throughout the day.
Could it make her come?
Well, in this particular case, it didn't,
Oh, okay.
because she said that it would always
So
get
that's where
kind
my
of
mind went.
tangled up in her anal hair going in.
Oh, my God.
Damn.
Whoa.
Oh.
Oh, poor
Should
Bertha.
I not have mentioned that? So, anywho.
No, that made it.
Didn't one time she pulled that out and ripped out like a solid chunk of her butt hair or something?
Oh my
Didn't you tell me
God.
that?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was Bertha.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Man, that
Wow.
sounds terrible. All right. I'm sorry, Bertha.
I
That
see why
sounds
you
terrible.
changed the name.
I hope you shave down there now. Sounds
Right.
painful. So those will be our stories for this week. Thank you guys for sharing. Those were very good
Thank
stories.
you.
All right, the next thing we want to do, we did something new this week. Other than having guests on our show, we also did a Facebook poll this week. I didn't put it out soon enough, so there wasn't many responses to it. But we did out on our Facebook page at Couple Sutra, we did a poll, and we wanted to just have some fun and get you guys involved. So we did which position below do you think is better? Results would be discussed in this week's episode. So we only got 4 responses, but we're also new here, so we don't have too many of you listening yet, but that's all right. And it was missionary versus doggy style, and doggy style was 75%, missionary 25%. I also think it comes to what mood are you in that day?
Sure.
Did you shower?
Right. Or are you hungry? Because it's easier to eat a sandwich doggy style.
No, you've eaten some potato chips while going
That was
missionary.
potato salad.
Oh, right. Okay.
Oh my god, I don't know if I've ever eaten.
No, neither have we. She's just being her silly
She's
self.
like,
Silly summer.
all right. And then we did a date. We do a date idea every week. So this week's date idea was bowling. Do you guys enjoy bowling?
Oh, that requires coordination of
Yeah.
some sort and me
So
not
no.
hurting myself, so that'd be a big no.
No.
Right.
So we decided, this is one of those, it could cost nothing depending on what you have laying around your house. If you have something that rolls in enough, we have that coop set over there. Actually, we could set up the blocks and roll something at the blocks.
Yeah.
So depending on what you have at home, it could be a completely free date, or if you have a bowling alley nearby, they're usually not that expensive. Or during the week, they tend to have.
And it's easy to
Sales.
have as a double date or a group date, or just go the two of you.
Yeah, I like bowling as group date because we're not good bowlers.
Not
We
at
just
all.
think it's fun to go out and drink and bowl. And another thing we wrote down was we have Nintendo, and so there's bowling on the different Nintendo consoles. I'm sure there is on PlayStation, all those, and you could also spice it up and play strip bowling. Obviously, if you
Not
are at
the
the
alley.
actual bowling alley, I mean, do what you want. I don't know what kind of bowling alley you
I'm
go
gonna have
to.
to tell the
But you
local
can-
cops that, hey, I listened to this podcast. They told me it was
They
okay.
said
Yep.
we could strip here. Keep score and then go home and slowly do your strip tease. Don't strip at the bowling alley, please. Disclaimer, don't do that. We're not in charge of that. But we thought that would be a fun date idea for people to try if they like bowling.
So our sex position of the week is the face-off. It says while they sit on a chair, so the man sitting on a chair or the edge of the bed, the woman sits on his lap facing them. So it's easier to do, but you get that closeness.
And the woman can be on her knees or have her legs wrapped around him. In the picture we'll share, it shows her on her knees, but honestly,
I feel like you can get deeper.
if your legs are behind him, most likely. Well, that is all we have for today. Thank you guys so much
Thanks for having
being
us.
on our podcast.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And so just for our listeners, our podcast comes out every Wednesday morning. Social media, you can find us on Facebook at Couples Sutra. Remember, that's couples with a K. Or you can email us at couplessutra@gmail.com. Email us your sex stories. Let us know how we're doing. If you just want to put something random in there or you're looking for advice, we like hearing from you guys. We like hearing your thoughts. We like hearing how the sex position of the week goes. We'd love to share how it goes at the beginning of the episode when we're sharing how we thought it went.
And we would love some suggestions too. If you're like, hey, you guys need to try this position or this date idea.
Definitely. And remember, when we are going over the sex position of the week, we are not responsible for anything that happens because
You have a disclaimer on this?
we have a disclaimer on this because people
Just
get
people get
too
hurt.
happy. So just remember, guys, try this at your own risk. I mean, they're not hard sex positions, but if you're trying them
If you
and
do
really,
it right, they
if
can
you
be
do it
hard.
right, if you do it right, yeah, you could hurt yourself. We're not responsible. Just remember that. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll talk to y'all next week.